Hey everybody, welcome. In this training, I wanted to tackle how to make sure that you can feel more certain and in control, particularly if you're feeling anxious. So welcome, my name is Hicks. If you don't know who I am or you're new to our online community, I'm the founder of mentalhealthcoaching.com. And we specialize in helping people learn how to naturally overcome depression and anxiety, typically in about 90 days or so. I was suicidal before, dealt with a lot of fear and challenges. And thankfully, even though traditional methods like therapy and medication did not do a lot for me, I learned how to retrain the brain and have learned a set of skills that really helps a lot of people improve their mental health. And that's what we're here to do. So we want you to have the mental health you deserve, and you can have the mental health you deserve. You just got to learn the right strategies to make it happen. So let's talk through this. I titled this 10 ways to instantly feel more certain and in control if you're anxious. But really, some of these are ways that you can feel more in control. Some of them are ways to reduce feeling out of control. And all of them are really takeaways about the idea of certainty and control and anxiety. So these are really kind of like 10 big things I want you to understand about the relationship between anxiety and feeling in control and feeling certain. So let's talk through this. So the very first one is that certainty, the desire to feel certain, is a key need that all of us have. Every human being on the planet has a desire to feel a sense of certainty, a sense of continuity. We want to know that we can predict what's going to happen next. Ideally, we want to be able to account for that. And we get a sense of satisfaction or even safety by having a sense of certainty. And as you're going to come to find out here momentarily, this desire for certainty can cause us a lot of challenges and cause us a lot of pain, even though the intention behind the desire is a good intention, which is to try to make sure that we can be safe. So there are other needs that we also have as human beings to make sure that we feel really fulfilled. So there are 6 key needs that are the drivers of all behavior. This comes from human needs psychology, which is one of the most powerful frameworks that I've found in my work with people. So what I found is that there really are these key 6 drivers of all human behavior. The first one is a desire to feel certain. Think of it also as like a desire to feel comfortable or in control. That's a big driver of behavior. Number 2 would be the desire for variety or uncertainty. Because if we had total certainty in our lives, that might feel really good for a short period of time because we'd feel safe and comfortable and we can predict what's happening next. But we would eventually get very bored. We would not feel very fulfilled or stimulated or passionate or excited or anything like that. So we also need variety. We need different environments. We need different stimulation. And so if you've ever had the simple experience of getting tired of the same restaurant or tired of the same music, or you just want to go on a vacation, right? That is your need for variety that is coming in. The third big driver we have is the desire to feel significant. So the desire to feel worthy, to feel enough, right? This is our ego need, right? We want to feel that we are enough and worthy so that we will be loved, which is our fourth need. We want to feel loved by other people, or at least connected with them. So we will engage in behaviors and activities to try to feel more connected with other people. So these first 4, we will find a way to meet these first 4 no matter what. And we're going to focus mostly on certainty today. And so I'm going to help you understand why some of your behaviors and your thoughts, your intrusive thoughts, which are really just behaviors of the mind, keep coming in. And it's because you're obsessed with certainty. All right. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But the 5th one, just so you know, is growth. The 6th one is contribution. So the first big takeaway I want you to get about certainty is that you will start to feel out of control and you will start to feel uncertain if certainty is at the very top of this list of 6. So for example, somebody who is trying to live their life by trying to feel certain and comfortable first before anything else is going to live a very neurotic life compared to somebody who is going after growth first, or somebody who is going after variety first, or someone who is going after love first. So let me give you a simple little illustration. Imagine you're in a relationship, a romantic relationship, and what you want most is to be certain and safe and comfortable first, and then you want love. Well, you're going to make very different choices in that relationship than if you value love first and certainty second. Because if it's the second scenario, you might be willing to have more difficult conversations. You might be willing to initiate contact with that person a little bit more. You might be willing to put yourself on the line a little bit more because you value love and connection more than certainty and comfort. So the higher we value certainty, the more uncertain we become. That's a key thing I want you to get out of this whole video training, audio, wherever you're consuming this, okay? Is I want you to understand that certainty, the more you feel like you must feel certain, the less certain you are going to feel. And that's takeaway number 2. So one way you can create more certainty and control, ironically, is by lowering how much you value feeling certain and feeling in control. So I'll give you a simple illustration. Think about someone in your life who is a very comfortable, secure, certain person. If you've ever just met somebody like that, who's naturally confident and they can walk into just about any situation and they feel like they know exactly what they need to do. Well, chances are, if I asked that person, hey, how do you make yourself feel so certain? They would probably go, well, what do you mean? I'm not certain. I just go in and I take it as it comes. I just do what I got to do based off of what is thrown at me. That's how people talk when they feel very certain and confident. You'd be amazed, but the people who are the most certain are the people who do not require feeling certain in order to act and in order to move. And this is a thing that literally inhibits people from even improving their mental health, because they know they need to get in touch with a therapist, or they know they need to go hire a coach, or they know that there's like that strategy they need to use or that program they want to join, but they want to feel 100% certain before they go and do it. And that's why they don't do it, because you're never going to be 100% certain of just about anything. So the more you value being certain, if you say, well, I at least need to be 60% certain, well, that means there's a whole lot of things you'll allow yourself to do, because you're not going to be 100% certain of a lot of things, but you can be 60% certain about a lot of stuff. But if you now require being 80% certain, well, now you've got less things that you're going to be willing to do. If you require being 100% certain, there's virtually nothing that you're going to allow yourself to do. You're going to hold yourself back and put the emergency brake on, even though you're slamming down on the accelerator. And that's what creates a lot of anxiety, is you're trying to drive your life forward. You know, you need to go build your business, or talk to your husband, or you need to go solve this issue with your finances, but you're not 100% certain how to do it. And so you don't do it, right? So that's a key thing. So takeaway 1, certainty is one key need we all have. But if you overvalue it, you will feel uncertain. Number 2, the more you feel you must be certain, the less certain you will feel. Okay. Number 3, we hide behind a desire to feel certain as an excuse for not taking action. So sometimes it's literally just a habit of laziness, where we say, no, now's not the right time. And we justify in our head, well, I'll do it later. I'll prioritize my mental health later. I'll go work out later. I'll go do this another time. And what we're really saying is, I am uncertain that I will be totally comfortable by taking this action. And I would rather excuse myself from doing that so that I can at least be certain in this current environment that I'm in, even if my current environment is very painful. Okay. This is actually why a lot of individuals do not leave toxic or domestically abusive relationships, because our nervous system will by default have an urge for certainty. And if we don't properly train our mind and navigate our mental health appropriately, and we overvalue certainty, people will stay in a painful situation simply because it is familiar, as opposed to going and doing something that is almost a guarantee to make them feel better, but it's just new to them. And they would rather have the certain pain than the unfamiliar pleasure. Think about how twisted that is, right? And so if you are noticing that this is a pattern of yours, this is me, this is the universe coming to you through me saying, hey, it's time to wake up. It's time to show and train yourself that you need to reframe your desire for certainty. You've got to put your desire for certainty in the proper place. So don't hide behind a desire to feel certain as an excuse for not taking action, because that's all it is it's just an excuse. And if you're honest with yourself and you zoom out, you can probably see that you've been making this excuse for months or years or maybe even decades, like pressing the mental snooze button, saying, oh, another time, oh, another time, oh, another time. That's how 20 years of your life goes by, like that. And you go, oh my gosh, how did I waste so much time? Well, you wasted so much time because you were waiting for this magical moment when you were going to feel 100% certain before you actually did what was actually going to improve your life and be healthy for you. And you're never going to be 100% certain for most things. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but you don't want to hide behind certainty as an excuse. Number 4, the more you value certainty, the less fulfilled you will be, because you will only grow in environments that you already can feel certain and in control of, which means you're not going to grow very much. You will always end up settling for less than you deserve if you decide you're going to wait to do things until you feel totally certain. So the more you are okay with being uncertain, the more your life will expand. So when you lower the desire to be certain and in control, your life expands. And in fact, I would say your life expands in direct proportion to how much uncertainty you can live with. Because if you can live with a lot of uncertainty, you will take risks. If you can live with a lot of uncertainty, you will be spontaneous. You will try new things. You will eat new foods, travel to new places, learn new skills, connect with new people, make new friendships. You will initiate intimacy and romance more freely if you're okay with being uncertain. So if you value being too certain and too in control, your life constricts, because now you will only do the things that you already know. You will only engage in the activities that you are certain you'll feel good in. You'll only talk to the people that you feel safe and comfortable talking to. You'll only bring up the topics that you know are safe and comfortable to talk about, and your life will shrink. So here's a key thing to understand about self-esteem, because a lot of you guys are really struggling with self-esteem. There are three main ways we can feel more self-esteem. One is growth. Right? When we challenge ourselves and we prove like, oh my gosh, I'm actually capable of more than I thought. I'm amazed I was able to do that. That boosts our self-esteem. So growth is a big one. The second one is contribution. I talked a little bit about contribution. When you put your own ego and your own needs aside and say, you know what, I'm going to do this for the betterment of other people, that's what will boost your self-esteem. The third one is love and connection can boost self-esteem. But I put them in that order because that's the order I find of importance of the surest ways to grow your self-esteem. So when you make it all about certainty and being in control, your self-esteem shrinks because you're not doing any challenging things anymore. You're only doing things to kind of survive. You're not really living, and you'll start to hate yourself. I hate to say it so abruptly and honestly, but I want to shake you out of your current hypnotic pattern of hitting the snooze button because you keep waiting to be totally certain. You have to start to train yourself to be comfortable taking action when you're uncertain. That's how you'll grow your self-esteem. Okay, number 5, just because you're unsure exactly how it will go, that does not mean that it will go badly. Okay, let me say this again, because this is really important. Just because you are unsure of exactly how it will go, that does not mean that it will go badly. That in fact, it doesn't even mean in many cases that there's any chance it's going to go badly. Okay, so let me give you a simple example. Well, look, I'll read the rest of my bullet point here. There are plenty of experiences in our life that we do without knowing exactly how it will go, but we can be confident and certain that it will go well. So let me give you an example. Driving. Many of you guys have no problem driving. You get anxious about other sorts of stuff, but you're able to go drive. Now, some of you do have driving phobias. I work with people on that, but just stick with me. When you go and drive, Do you know in your head exactly what's going to happen? Like whether you're going to hit a green light or a red light, or who's going to turn near you, if someone's going to cross over the center line, if there's going to be construction. Do you ever really know 100% with certainty what's going to happen? No, never. So if you require being 100% certain of how that drive is going to go, you're not going to ever drive, because you'll never have total certainty. But a lot of you guys with anxiety challenges, there are environments where you don't know exactly how it's going to go, but you do know, well, yeah, I'm going to get to the destination. I'm going to get in my car, I'm going to drive, and whether there's construction or whatever, I'm eventually going to get where I need to go. So you have a mental pattern that induces certainty and confidence without waiting for the external world to be a particular way, but now you're generating it internally. And that works a lot better. The way to do that is to just simply focus on the outcome that you desire taking place and make sure that that is your dominant focus. So when it comes to, say, let's say a relationship, and you got a tough conversation you got to have. Well, yeah, you may not be sure exactly how the conversation is going to go, but you can be totally sure that if the conversation is had and the issue is brought up, that it is going to get worked out eventually, as opposed to it just being like brushed under the rug, right? Another example would be working out. A lot of you guys don't go to the gym because you're wanting to be certain and comfortable, and you want to know exactly what workout you're going to do, and you want to know that it's going to be okay and that you can do it and you're not going to get too tired, right? But going and working out is always good for you, right? Like you don't need to have a particular workout plan in order to go and work out. It doesn't make sense to say, well, I'm going to wait to work out until I know exactly what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it and how I'm going to do it. You just need to go get on the treadmill and walk, right? That's the way to do it. A simple example I found in my own life is like growing this business, right? Sometimes it's easy for me to get in my head like, well, should I do this strategy or should I do that strategy? Or should I do this to serve our clients better? Or should I do that? It's like, eventually I just have to go, you know what, just pick one and go and do it, because any strategy to improve the business is going to improve the business. Any strategy to improve our physical health is going to improve our physical health. So by valuing growth over certainty, we get ourselves to take more action. And that's a key thing that you want to do. Okay, so that's an important takeaway. Number 6, when you choose growth over certainty, you instantly become more certain. That's pretty much what I was just saying. When you finally say, you know what, I don't need to be totally certain, but I do have a good idea that this strategy will work for my business, or I do have a good idea that my wife will find this romantic and I'll try this out. All of a sudden, you start taking action. And once you are in the process of taking action, you will be amazed at how much more certain you feel. Because it is very difficult for the human brain to be in a state of taking action and also simultaneously be in a state of apprehension and anxiety. Just taking action tends to start to alleviate anxiety for most people in most cases. Okay, so number 7, certainty comes as soon as you take baby steps and make initial progress. You never get certain by avoiding action, only by taking it. Pretty much what I was just saying. Because what happens is as soon as you start to take action, you'll go, oh my gosh, look at this. I tried this little strategy and it's actually working for my business. Or, you know what? I talked to my boss about that thing I wanted to talk to my boss about. And they responded okay. They actually listened to me okay. Right? So that's a thing that you can do. As soon as you get closer to the goal by taking action, your brain goes, wait a minute, I'm a little closer. I can get all the way there. And that's the power of diminishing the necessity to feel certain, getting over that hump, taking a little action, and then getting a totally new pattern of momentum working in your favor. Okay. Number 8, it's important to derive certainty internally, not externally. So, for example, a lot of you guys are wanting the conditions of your life to be exactly right, and then you're going to go and do what you want to go and do. I literally just spoke with a woman 2 days ago, and bless her heart, I feel for her. She's in a marriage she's really unhappy with, and she's committing infidelity in her marriage. She's known she needs to leave the marriage for a long, long time, several years. But as is the case with a lot of people in that situation, she's justifying not leaving the marriage because she's convinced herself, well, I need to stay for the kids. But my honest take on that is that that's an excuse that she's hiding behind. And we've all done this. This is not a judgment on her per se. It's just a habit that our mind will get into, where we come up with a story that makes it convenient to not take action. And we hide behind that, because really what it is she's uncertain about what will happen when the divorce takes place. Even though she's in incredible pain and she's not happy and she's unfulfilled. And quite honestly, it's not good for her kids either. Because by the way, if any of you guys are in this situation, staying in a unhealthy, unhappy marriage is never healthy and happy for the kids, ever, right? What is best for the kids is for them to see that their parents have stable mental health. That is the number one predictor of children's mental health later on in life. So staying in an unhappy marriage is not doing your kids any favors, just for the record. But if she were to reduce her need to feel certain, she could go, okay, yeah, I'm uncertain about what the next chapter of my life has in store for me, but I definitely know what the last 10 years have had in store for me. And I know I don't want any more of that. So I'm going to take a little action and go for it. Right. So, but she's waiting for the external conditions to all match up. She's made this imaginary checklist of, well, when the kids are out of the school, but I guarantee when that takes place, her mind will come up with something else. And you guys have all had this, where in order for you to feel totally certain, the weather's got to be just right, and our partner's got to be in a good mood, and our boss has to be in a good mood. And if none of those conditions are totally where we want it to be, we'll say, it's not the right time. And we'll delay. And so what you end up doing is creating a sensation where you're really just living your life in a waiting room. You're not really living your life. You're just in a waiting room of your own creation, where you're pressing pause constantly, waiting for this magical moment when everything's going to match up with your expectations. But even when those expectations get matched, the mind has a habit of creating more check boxes that it needs to check. So when you are valuing external validation, you end up becoming like a dog chasing its own tail. Remember how I said the more we value being certain, the more we must feel certain, the less certain we feel. So what you end up doing is you end up chasing your tail faster and faster and faster and going, okay, I need to clean the whole house, and I need to do this, and I need to do that, and I need to make sure that this is there, and and then I'll feel totally certain. And when I feel totally certain, then I'll feel good, and then I can prioritize myself. Well, that never happens, because the more you check those boxes, the more boxes get created, right? And that's what happens when you value external validation. So what you've got to do is start to build the internal skill, the skill of creating certainty inside, as opposed to waiting to get certainty from the outside, okay? So a simple little way to think about this would be, imagine playing a board game where the only way you win the board game is if all of the other players do what they're supposed to do. Well, that would be a very frustrating, very tiresome, stressful game. What you want to do is play a board game where you can win the majority of the time by simply doing what you need to do throughout that process, right? And that's where things get really, really exciting. So I'm going to give you a simple little tactic that you can use in order to generate some more certainty on a regular basis. And it's pretty damn powerful. So here's what you want to do. It's what we call an incantation. So it's a little language pattern that starts to overwrite the negative thinking in your mind. And you want to write this down and start to use it. And it's simply, I can and I will. So whenever your mind is going, yeah, I really want to go work out, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because my back is just hurting, right? That's when you want to start to go, I can and I will. I can and I will work out this morning. And your mind goes, yeah, but I'm a little tired and I can and I will. I'm tired, but I can and I will work out. And you'll be amazed at, like, even just say that sentence out loud one time. Just go ahead and try it. No one's listening, right? Just try it. You'll be amazed as it starts to boost your feeling of certainty. You might not get like to total gladiator certainty right away, but just by using that, no, wait, I can and I will. You're like, oh, maybe I can do this. I can and I will. Oh, it's a little bit more. And you start to build certainty, because repetition creates belief. What we tell ourselves becomes what we believe, for better or worse. And so when you're telling yourself all this horrible stuff, That's what you come to believe. And when you tell yourself you can and you will, then you'll feel more certain. Okay. Number 9, recognize that by overvaluing certainty, you will certainly get more pain. You will keep getting more of what you hate. Would you rather be certain you will be miserable or have a chance to be happy? So what I found is a really good hack is if you find yourself in these like certainty traps, you can actually use your desire to feel certain and flip it on itself. So what's happening probably for you is you're delaying improving your mental health or doing what you need to do that would improve your mental health because you keep pressing snooze and waiting for this magic moment when you're going to feel totally cool. So here's a little thought experiment for you. I want you to imagine that you keep pressing pause. Like, let's just imagine what's going to happen, which is you keep pressing pause and keep coming up with reasons to press pause on doing what's going to improve your mental health. And you do that for as long as you've already been doing it, which for many of you is going to be years or decades. Even if it's months, do you want, like, you're probably going to live to be 88 years old. Do you want to wish away another 90 days, another 3 precious months out of your life, waiting for this magic moment to feel certain? Do you want to sacrifice that? Like, imagine where you will end up 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now if you keep pressing pause. How dissatisfied will you be? What will the state of your relationships be? What will be your financial earnings then? Where will you be? Because that is the certain future you're headed in if you don't break the cycle and start to take action and break the pattern and do something different. So I use this a lot when I find myself in a pattern of avoidance. If I find that I'm avoiding something, I'll go, okay, wait a minute. I know I'm telling myself in the moment that I'm avoiding this right now and that I'll actually do it tomorrow. But the more I avoid things today and tell myself it's going to happen tomorrow, the more I continue to avoid again and again. So by me avoiding it in the present, I'm continuously reinforcing the pattern of avoidance. So if I really avoid this right here, right now, and I continue to reinforce that pattern of avoidance so that tomorrow I avoid it and the next day I avoid it and it keeps going, where is that going to take me in 10 years? And then I'll think about all of the pain of 10 years of avoidance. And because we have a stronger desire to avoid pain than to pursue pleasure, when you magnify it, your brain will go, oh, no. I am not going to do that. I am not going to make that happen. So I had a session with a client years ago where she wanted to quit smoking, but she kept not quitting smoking. Why? Because she got certainty and comfort from the habit of smoking. She knew she wanted to smoke, but she was more associated to the certainty and comfort of smoking. And so I said, well, why do you want to quit smoking? She said, well, I don't want to end up like my mom. I said, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, my mom is in her late 50s. She's unemployed. She just sits on her stoop of her steps, just smokes all day. And, she just sits in her head and smokes all day. I said, gotcha. Is that where you're headed right now? She's like, yeah, I guess so. And I said, great. So close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that you are now your mom's age, sitting on your porch, smoking your cigarettes. How does that make you feel? And she immediately goes, oh, like that, right? She had like this like disgust that she had. But that was what we needed. We had to get leverage. We had to reach a point of pain that was deep enough so that she would actually decide to take action. That's what was really critical. So you can use that little hack to create more certainty. Okay. And then number 10, the more you learn to live without certainty, the more certain you become. And you can start small. You can just start with baby steps, right? So think about something you've been avoiding. It could be making a call or scheduling an appointment or, finding your therapist or hiring a coach or using a strategy, going and meditating, going for a walk, going and exercising, having a conversation with somebody, whatever it is, whatever would move your life forward that you have been avoiding, just take a tiny one of those things. And you just need to start to train yourself to take action. You need to recognize this. You will never, I repeat, never reach this magical moment that you're waiting for when you feel totally, completely certain. Never. So what you're going to end up doing is just pressing pause for the rest of your life, and you'll waste your life. I'm trying to be honest with you, like I would want someone to be honest with me if I were in your position, right? And you've got to train yourself to take action and be okay with being uncertain as you take action. Because when you go, okay, you know what, I'm going to take some action, even though I'm a little uncertain, then you take the action, then you start to feel certain, and you start to build the muscle of being able to feel certain. So just say to yourself, I can and I will do this, and then do it, and do it right in that moment. Because what will happen is if you don't take action in that moment, then you'll go, okay, I can and I will do this, ... And you hesitate and you hesitate, and you go, tomorrow, I'll do this tomorrow. Now it's over. Now you're going to go right back into the same old spiral. You must break the cycle. This is the universe coming to you and telling you it's time to break the cycle. Stop waiting to feel totally certain, because you are going to waste your life. And you're going to think back to this conversation you're having with yourself right now and go, oh my gosh, how did I wait this long? Nobody is ever proud or fulfilled because they waited so long to do something they knew they needed to do to improve their life. We only ever feel regret that we waited. Don't be that person. If you really want to beat anxiety, you must change your relationship to certainty. You must start to get comfortable being uncertain. That's the ironic lesson out of this whole thing. It's not the answer you were looking for, but it is the truth. What you were looking for was, oh yeah, if you want to feel more in control, then just go ahead and do this and do this. And here's your little checklist, and do this particular certain little activity, and you'll just feel more certain. Right? I did give you a couple things like that. But the real lesson is the only way to live anxiety-free is to have an appropriately healthy relationship with the concept of uncertainty. Let me say that again. The only way to live anxiety-free, or depression-free for that matter, is to have an appropriately healthy relationship to the concept of certainty. And that means that you don't sit around waiting to feel totally certain before you go and do things. So here's what I want you to let me know. Go ahead and let me know in the comments if you'd like. What is that singular action you need to do to push yourself in the direction of the mental health that you really deserve? What is it? And just go do it right now. Don't wait another minute. Literally go and do it right now. Okay, so this has been a pleasure. I'll be excited to see what you guys have to say and serve you in our next training. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.